August 1st, 1914, the July crisis crossed a line that Europe could not easily uncross. Germany declared war on Russia after demanding that Russian mobilization stop. The words moved through official channels, but their force reached far beyond chancelleries. In streets, railway stations, telegraph offices, barracks, markets, churches, and family kitchens, people began to understand that the crisis after Sarajevo was no longer only diplomatic pressure. It had become public action. War was entering timetables, uniforms, train platforms, and the lives of millions. The background was a month of fear and calculation. Austria-Hungary had moved against Serbia after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Russia claimed a role as protector of Slavic interests and began mobilizing. Germany feared that if Russia mobilized first, Germany would lose the advantage built into its war plans. France was tied to Russia. Britain watched Belgium, sea power, and the continental balance. Contemporary accounts and surviving diplomatic records show leaders using the language of necessity, while historians still debate how much room for delay remained. Every government spoke about defense, honor, security, and necessity, yet each defensive claim made another state feel trapped. The system turned caution into acceleration. In Berlin, crowds gathered beneath flags in summer light. Some cheered the Kaiser and sang because they believed war would be short, righteous, and cleansing. Photographs from August 1914 can look almost festive. Men in hats, women in long dresses, soldiers moving through public squares, faces lifted toward balconies and notices. That surface confidence matters because it shows one of the tragedy's first illusions. Many civilians saw mobilization as a moment of national unity. They could not yet see the mud, artillery, gas, hunger, grief, and mass graves that would define the war's reality. Behind the crowds, the machinery mattered more than emotion. Modern empires moved through railway schedules, telegraph wires, staff tables, coal supplies, horse requisitions, and mobilization districts. A delay of hours could seem dangerous to planners who believed that the first weeks would decide survival. That belief gave paperwork and timetables terrifying power. Once trains were assigned and reservists called, slowing down looked like vulnerability. Diplomacy still existed, but it was competing with systems designed to move faster than conversation. Russia's mobilization made the crisis physical. Soldiers reported, families waited at stations, and steam locomotives became symbols of a world being pulled toward battle. In France, mobilization notices appeared and reservists prepared to leave farms, shops, offices, and cafes. In Belgium, neutrality was not an abstraction. It was a legal shield threatened by military geography. In Britain, leaders debated obligations while crowds read news outside offices and newspaper boards. Even across the Atlantic, markets and immigrant communities felt the shock because finance, shipping, cable traffic, and family ties made the crisis global before the war became global. The tragedy of August 1st is that no single crowd, telegram, or speech explains it alone. The war began from linked decisions: Austria-Hungary's punishment of Serbia, Russia's mobilization, Germany's fear of encirclement, France's alliances, Britain's calculations, and military plans that rewarded speed. Leaders still had choices, but they had built a world in which waiting felt more dangerous than acting. That is why contemporaries could describe themselves as being forced by events, even while their own decisions pushed the events forward. By the end of the day, Europe had moved closer to a general war that would consume millions of lives, break empires, reshape borders, and leave political wounds that lasted for generations. The flags and station farewells of August 1914 became the opening images of a catastrophe. August 1st belongs in history not because every battle began that day, but because the declaration against Russia showed that the crisis had escaped containment. The point of no return was a system of fear, honor, plans, alliances, and machines that made war seem safer than delay.